Welcome into Locked On Phillies. The Phils lose a tough one. Rhys Hoskins makes a critical error, and now there are questions about what you do with the lineup in Game 3. I'm Connor Thomas, and let's jump into today's Locked On Phillies.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is indeed Locked On Phillies, and I am your host, Connor Thomas. We want to thank you for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Now, I've been following baseball for a long time. I've played it my whole life, played collegiately, played semi-pro ball, been talking it for years on the radio, on TV. Happy to be here with you as your host of Locked On Phillies. And I want to thank you for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Now, the Phillies dropped Game 2 of their NLDS matchup with the Atlanta Braves. They lose yesterday. They lose 3-0. All those runs came in the 7th inning. All of them came off of Zach Wheeler, and all of them came after an error by Rhys Hoskins. And there's a lot of things to break down about the game. A lot of things. We're going to start with the good, because there was some good. I like to always start positive. Zach Wheeler was incredible. If the Phillies are able to advance, if the Phillies are able to make it to the NLCS, or if Wheeler, who only threw, I believe, 76 pitches, 79 pitches, he threw less than 80 pitches, if he's able to go in Sunday's Game 5, if it comes to that, well, he's absolutely dominant. He hasn't really been touched this year. I'll tell you why, even though he gave up 3 runs, that is still the case, because you saw the game, you saw the Rhys Hoskins error that led to it. So you have a bona fide ace who can beat any team in baseball. That's great. Not every team in the playoffs has that. You have good pitchers. Like the Braves have probably 4 guys that they feel comfortable throwing against anybody. But Max Fried and Kyle Wright and Charlie Morton, who we're going to see tomorrow night in Philadelphia, and Spencer Strider, injured Spencer Strider right now, none of those guys are exactly, hey, go out. It's a guaranteed shutdown game. Don't worry about anything else. They're going to give you 7 innings, no question. No, I don't think any of those guys have that. Strider could be that guy if he was healthy, but he's not right now. So, yeah, the Phillies absolutely have Zach Wheeler, who has the potential to be the best pitcher in the postseason. And they have Aaron Nola, who also has the potential to be the best pitcher in the postseason. So the good news is the top of rotation still looks strong as ever. The other good news, they put together some good at-bats yesterday, I guess. The approach at the plate wasn't terrible against Kyle Wright. They did some good stuff. They just didn't it didn't materialize in hits. I didn't ever really look at it like as a team. There were some individuals, and we're going to get into that. But as a team, I didn't watch the game and think, man, that was a terrible at-bat. Man, that was a terrible at-bat. Man, that was a terrible at-bat. That was a quick inning. No, it felt like they were seeing the ball well. It just didn't materialize in hits. And when it did, they didn't string hits together. And that falls more on individuals than it falls on the team. The guys who got opportunities in those spots, or the guys at the top of the lineup who are trying to set the table and not doing a great job of that. That was pretty much the depth of the positives. Let's get into the negatives. First of all, the fielding by Rhys Hoskins on a ground ball to first base that he needs to have, it's an inconscious, I can't even talk. It's an unbelievable, unacceptable, inconceivable misplaying of a ball. And not the fact that he didn't make the play and get the runner at first. That's not what I'm talking about. Now, ideally, you just backhand that and you make the play at first, and yeah, you're good there. But even if you don't make the play at first, in that situation, in a 0-0 ball game, with the go-ahead run on second base and 2 outs in the inning, that ball cannot get to the outfield. I don't care if you kick it. I don't care if you swat it with your other hand. I don't care if it hits you in the chest. I don't care if it hits you in the head or the face. You have to sell your body out to go out and get that baseball. Chest it up. Keep it in. You think how many times Zach Wheeler has bailed this team out this year? Yeah, well, Rhys Hoskins had an opportunity to bail him out for making a not-so-good 0-2 pitch to Matt Olson, and he just full-on Olayed it. It was some major league type stuff, not Major League Baseball, because it wasn't Major League Baseball quality. I'm talking about the movie where Lou Brown tells Dorn, hey, I don't want to see any of this Olay crap. Was it Dorn or Taylor? Or whoever. It was that. It was Olay crap. That's what the play was by Rhys Hoskins. It's unacceptable. I know you're bad defensively at first base, dude. Like, I know you're really bad defensively at first base. And that's part of the reason that when everything's said and done at the end of this season, whenever that may be, if it's the NLDS, the NLCS, the World Series, as World Series champions, you're going to have to go evaluate what Rhys Hoskins is as a fielder, and it will not be a good evaluation. But that was also a lack of effort. And I don't think it was a lack of want. I think it was I'm so inept defensively that I don't understand that I can just knock this ball down. I got to try and make the play. I got to try and backhand something tough instead of making what might have looked like a more awkward attempt at it, but keeping the ball in. It's just, I mean, it was a hard hit ball, but it wasn't smoked. It wasn't unbelievable that he didn't get a glove. Like, that play's got to be made. And here's the thing. Here's Rhys Hoskins' redeeming quality. And this is where Kyle Schwarber comes into the equation as well. Rhys Hoskins is a minus defender. Kyle Schwarber, also a minus defender. But where they become valuable is the fact that they can leave the yard at any time. They're great hitters. They have power. They're going to create runs. And they're going to get on base by way of the walk because they can create runs with power. Those guys have not been doing that. In the playoffs, do you know what they are? They are 1 for 34. 1 for 34. I haven't done the math yet. And that's Kyle Schwarber and Rhys Hoskins combined, just so I'm being clear. I'm going to do the math right now. 1 divided by 34. That's batting 0.29 in the playoffs. Those are your guys batting 1 and 2. You can't have your leadoff and your 2-hole hitter batting 0.29 in the playoffs. It's unacceptable. They've been terrible at the plate. So you've got JT Realmuto, who's been your best hitter over the past month or 2 months, coming up with 2 outs on him to start the game, like every single time. And listen, in game 1 against the Braves, with 2 outs, they had to rally. Could you imagine if they had guys on base at the beginning? Could have been 5-0. They won the game. So, hey, that's great, but it's unacceptable that your 2 top hitters in the lineup are 1 for 34 over their playoff appearance so far this year. It's 4 games. I know it's a small sample size, but you can't do that. Now, the other things that are not great, the hits need to be more consistent. Like, you can't have games where you only get 3 hits. Like, that's not acceptable. And I understand Kyle Wright had a really good game. His curveball looked incredible and all that. He's a 21-game winner. That was not a slouch pitcher, but still, 3 hits is not acceptable. And the other thing is laying down kind of after that 3-run 7th inning. It felt like not the Phillies quit. They didn't quit remotely. I'm not saying that at all. I don't think they did. I don't have any doubt in the fight in this team. But it looked like mentally they were a little bit more reserved when they went down. When the Braves get down in a game, and of course now we've only seen them in the playoffs at home. We'll see what they are at Citizens Bank Park if the Phillies get a lead. But when they got down in game 1, they weren't reserved. They battled. They were fired up still, and maybe that's the home crowd benefiting them. But last night when the Phillies went down 3-0, it felt like the shoulders slumped a little bit, the head hung a little bit, and I don't think they gave up. I don't think they ever stopped trying to win the game, but I think mentally they were a little bit defeated, and I'd like to see that be a little bit better because playoff baseball, it's tough. We haven't seen this team lose a playoff baseball game yet. That's the first time a lot of them have lost a playoff game, and that pressure is different, and that feel is different, knowing that, hey, we just lost a game that might put us in position to get sent home easier. That's tough. So it's something mentally a younger team, and not even just a younger team, but a playoff inexperienced team will have to get used to. But another thing to work on. The big culprits, though, last night, and the big culprits this whole postseason, and culprits, I use the term lightly because they're 3-1 in the postseason, swept the Cardinals, and have a great opportunity still to eliminate the Braves, but are Rhys Hoskins and Kyle Schwarber. And coming up next, we're going to preview Game 2, and I'm going to discuss something I tweeted out and a thought process about some changes that might be interesting heading into Game 3. That's coming up next as we continue Locked On Phillies. Okay, so you know what I do for work now? I do morning sports talk radio. I do this podcast. I do TV. I cover the team for the Phillies. I cover Flyers, Sixers, a lot of stuff here in Philadelphia. None of that really has me dressed up. But in a past life, I used to be in sales. And one of the worst parts about sales was waking up every day and having to put on dress shirts that were uncomfortable and didn't fit. You always felt like you were choking when you had to button it up. No one likes to wear dress shirts. You like to wear the kind of like the chill athletic wear and everything like that. And it doesn't look as good, but it's more comfortable. That's what's important to a lot of people. Well, let me tell you about our next sponsor because they've found a solution for that. I want to tell you about Roan. Because Roan has figured out how to make, well, a radical reinvention of the dress shirt. Roan stepped up to the challenge. They've got a commuter shirt. It's the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible shirt known to man. And here's why. First stop, mobility. Roan's comfortable four-way stretch fabric. It provides breathability and flexibility. It'll feel like one of these. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm wearing the dry fit athletic shirts. It'll feel like one of those, but in a dress shirt. It's awesome. Looking good is easy. You feel confident. It's wrinkle free. You look good. You're not showing up to work in a dry fit t-shirt like I do every morning. No, you look professional. You look like you're not some schmuck that talks on the radio. You look like you're a guy who's ready to do business. Make a sale. Get into that meeting. Win the boss over. Stuff like that. And the other thing, odor-free tech. With Gold Fusion anti-odor technology, you're going to be smelling great all the time. Smells important, looks important, feels important. All of it is great. Leads to you being important. It's just, Roan has revolutionized what dress clothes are supposed to look like. And their commuter shirt is my absolute favorite one if you're heading into the office, if you're trying to get back. Like, remember, we've all been working from home. You've probably been working on your couch wearing a sweatshirt. You want something more comfortable when you go back to the office? Check out Roan. And the commuter shirt can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. Head to roan.com/lockedon and use promo code LOCKEDON, and you'll save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you head to RHONE.com/LOCKEDON. And again, use your code LOCKEDON. It's time to find your corner office comfort. All right, it's time for the preview of Game 3, which will be tomorrow, 4:37, I believe, at Citizens Bank Park. First of all, before we get into the radical changes that I'm considering and what some people might call panic moves and the strategy and all of that, it is the first home playoff game in 11 years for the Philadelphia Phillies. I was talking today, so we broadcast this morning from center ice because the Flyers home opener is tonight. I'm recording this on Thursday. So Thursday night's the Flyers home opener. I was talking to John Brazier, who's the director of fun and games for the Philadelphia Phillies. Basically, he handles everything when it comes to promotions and stuff like that. Stuff with the Fanatic appearances, in between innings stuff, giveaway things. He gave us some rally towels that are going to be given out to all the fans at the game Friday. He gave us some hats. Told us they're going to be doing some fun stuff outside the ballpark. So if you're going down there, there's going to be a Ferris wheel. There's going to be a pregame concert. It's going to be like right outside on right off of Darien Street, right behind Citizens Bank Park out in center field there. So go ahead and check all that out. He also told us there was some breaking news this morning. Shane Victorino is going to throw out the first pitch. So that should get the people going. But if you're going down to the game, it is going to be a raucous environment. I need each and every one of you contributing. I need you to make Atlanta feel uncomfortable. I need you to make them want to leave. I need you to be loud and wave those rally towels. Now, they're red rally towels this year. Can't do white anymore because too many people complained it was an unfair advantage because you couldn't see the baseball. Understood. But be Philadelphia. That's the best advice I can give to you. And give these guys a home field advantage regardless of what happened in Game 2, regardless of what happened this season with some games that you felt like maybe they should have won, or I don't like this player, or I'm not the biggest fan of that, but who cares? You're getting the first home playoff game in 11 years. It's all cheers, and it's all the time. So make sure it's loud in that ballpark. Now, the team you'll be cheering for, there are some interesting things that I've had thoughts on when it comes to them. And I want to read you a tweet that I put out yesterday because I got a lot of heat on this tweet that I put out. I didn't think it was that crazy of a thought process. And a lot of people responded to me saying that I'm nuts and Rob Thomson would be fired on the spot if he did this. And I don't think that's the case whatsoever. But here's what the tweet says. I don't know who else plays, but you have to consider playing someone for Hoskins and Schwarber in Game 3. They're killing this team. It goes back to the whole they're 1 for 34 in the playoffs, batting .029. The only hit is Rhys Hoskins. Kyle Schwarber is over. And I'm going to defend the people who said I was crazy here real quick. Kyle Schwarber and Rhys Hoskins, outside of Bryce Harper, are your biggest home run threats. Those are the guys most likely to leave the yard. And to take them out of the lineup takes the potential that lightning could strike at any time. Like Kyle Schwarber is the NL home run leader. The dude can leave the yard at any time. I get he's over, but both these guys are kind of streaky. That's kind of how home run hitters are. And you've stuck with them all year. Rob Thomson probably wants to stick with his guys. That being said, and I understand all that, you can't have two guys who are minus defenders at the top of the order going 1 for 34. And it's playoff baseball. You don't have the time. Like in a season, over the course of the season, you have time to be like, oh man, they've had a tough 4-game stretch. Let them play through it. Okay, you have that luxury. You don't have that luxury here anymore. You can't go back to Atlanta for a game 5. You can't have to try and eliminate the champs in their own building. These 2 games at home, win them. You can not have to travel again to Atlanta. You can win Nola start and then go into an elimination game Saturday afternoon at Citizens Bank Park. Yeah, that's awesome. That's what you want to do. So there is no wait around for them to figure it out. At some point, you got to make a tough decision. And a lot of people don't feel like it's now. I think, and remember the wording of the tweet. You have to consider. People responded, like I said, you have to cut Kyle Schwarber and Rhys Hoskins' head off in front of Citizens Bank Park and sacrifice them to the baseball gods. I didn't say throw them off the team. I said you have to consider playing someone for Hoskins and Schwarber. I got a lot of tweets following that. What would you do? Tell me your lineup then. Who plays for them? We don't have anybody else, this, that, and the other thing. Now, if you had to ask me, Schwarber, even after consideration, would still play. I would move him down in the lineup. But Matt Vierling hasn't been good this postseason. I can't trust him enough at this level yet. He's still a young player, and he's had some big moments. He's had some big hits. If he had to pinch hit as a right-handed batter, okay, he's not the worst option in the world, but I can't start him over Kyle Schwarber. And that's the tough part. You don't really have that much in the outfield to work with. So you're kind of hamstrung into starting Kyle Schwarber, but it's something that I sit down and I think about and I go through that thought process and make sure I'm really comfortable with Kyle Schwarber still being the left fielder. If that's the case, he's got to move down in the lineup. We'll talk about where that lineup goes after I tell you my solution to Rhys Hoskins. This is the God's honest truth. I would sit Rhys Hoskins for game 3. This might sound crazy, but he doesn't give you anything at the plate right now. He's minus defensively. And you have a guy on the bench that's been great defensively and really good at the dish and clutch all year long in Edmundo Sosa. If it's up to me, I'm playing Edmundo Sosa at third base. I'm playing Alec Boehm at first base. And I'm sitting Rhys Hoskins. I know Alec Boehm's been really good at third base. Isn't that more of a reason you feel comfortable moving him over to first? Still an infield position. Just got to catch the ball. Like it's the opposite side, but still, they're ground balls. It might be a little bit more difficult, but if Alec Boehm had that ball hit to him last night at first base, I firmly believe he at least knocks that ball down, if not makes that play. Edmundo Sosa at third base can make every play Alec Boehm can make and more. So even if Alec Boehm is only a slight improvement defensively over Rhys Hoskins at first, you're also getting improvement defensively at third base. And Edmundo Sosa has been really good at the dish. He was in game 1 against Atlanta. He was in the Cardinals series. I think he only pinch ran in the Cardinals series. But still, Sosa's he's been clutch when you need it in the B. He's hit really well. He's a guy that seems calm at the plate and always puts in good at-bats, has wheels. I would love to see him play over there at third. Bryson Stott at short, then Segura at second. Center field still Marsh. Right field still Castellanos. Left field still Schwarber. Just because you don't have a potential backup option that's good enough. Matt Vierling is not good enough. JT behind the dish. Nola on the mound. That's how I would line up. And my lineup would go like this. I can't have Schwarber hit leadoff anymore. Frankly, I'd hit JT Realmuto leadoff. I know it sounds crazy to have a catcher hit leadoff, but he's got the wheels. He has the approach. He's been your best hitter. I'd bat him leadoff. I would bat Alec Boehm second. I'd bat Bryce Harper third. I'd bat Nick Castellanos cleanup. I'd bat Kyle Schwarber fifth. Then 6th, I would go Segura. 7th, I would go Sosa. 8th, I would go, or wait, where did I miss Castellanos? I missed Castellanos in there. Let's restart that. We're leading off JT. We're batting Bohm second. Third, we're batting Harper. Fourth, we're batting Castellanos. Fifth, we're batting Schwarber. Sixth, we're batting Segura. Seventh, we're batting Sosa. Eighth, we're batting, who else do we have left? I'm missing players. Eighth, we're batting Marsh. Ninth, we're batting Stott. And you can flip-flop those last two. Probably actually rather have Stott bat eighth, Marsh bat ninth, and then Marsh more of a speed guy, turn the lineup over like that. But you got to move Schwarber down. You got to change stuff around. You got to get someone at the top that can produce. And to me, your best 3 overall hitters, and I understand Segura is a machine, but the reason why you have him down there is because the bottom of the lineup needs one of those guys too. And he's been down there and he's comfortable down there and he's producing in the 6, 7, 8 spot, that range. I don't know, man. I'm just going Realmuto, Bohm, Harper as your best 3 chances to get guys on and guys in the tops of innings. So that's just how I feel. That's what I changed. Maybe you think I'm crazy, but that's everything. Now, we haven't even gotten into the pitching matchup. And as we wrap up coming up, we'll talk a little bit about the matchup, what to expect there, because I got really off on a Rhys Hoskins, Kyle Schwarber tangent. But that decision and how you handle that could be the difference in the series. Now, the pitching matchup is certain to make a difference in the series, how it plays out. And we'll discuss that next as we wrap up Locked On Phillies. First, though, I got to tell you about my friends over at Built Bar. I just had a Built Bar. I just had one of their chocolate s'mores regular bars. Nice and chewy, chocolatey, 100% real chocolate. It tastes so good. I can't believe it's good for you. They also have the cookie dough chunk puffs. It's amazing. They got cookie dough in them, marshmallow in there because those are the puffs. They come with real marshmallow and 100% chocolate coating on the outside. It tastes amazing. It's all the joys of eating cookie dough, a chocolate bar, all of that stuff that you enjoy that isn't healthy for you, but this is healthy for you. It's got collagen protein, 15 grams of it to be exact, only 160 calories, and it's great to keep your body in the shape you need it to be. So if you want a healthy snack that keeps you in great shape and tastes amazing too, and who doesn't want that? That's like the holy grail. Go ahead and check out Built Bar, and when you go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKEDON15 and get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCKEDON15 for 15% off at Built.com. Okay, tomorrow night's pitching matchup, rather. I hate the off days in between games. I'm climbing the walls. I'll be at the Flyers home opener, though, so that will satiate me a little bit. Aaron Nola versus Charlie Morton. Here's the basic breakdown. Nola's been incredible. He's been much better at home, and he gets to be at home. He's been really good down the stretch. I have complete and utmost faith in Aaron Nola to continue to throw the way he's throwing. He's already faced down the doubters. We know what we're getting from Aaron Nola. We know what his floor is. We know what his ceiling is. He's going to give you a good outing, especially at home with the home crowd behind him. He pitched in big games in LSU. He's proven this year he can be a big game pitcher in the postseason. Let's ride with Aaron Nola. There's nothing more I need to tell you about what he's been. You've seen him all year. But Charlie Morton, you've seen a couple times too, and I'll tell you what. There are a couple things that Charlie Morton hasn't been as good this year at. He hasn't been all that good on the road. Significantly better at Truist Park. When he goes on the road, he's the different pitcher. And he's been not great against the Phillies. They had a game where they hung like 7 on him in like the first 4 innings and just absolutely teed off on him. They always seem to hit him well. His ERA against the Phillies is not good. It's over 5. Yeah, I'll take that. He just doesn't do well against his team. He doesn't do well at Citizens Bank Park. He's not a guy that you should be overly afraid of. Now, you're still going to have to put together good at-bats, but this is not a Cy Young candidate coming in here. This is a guy you've handled well, knows that you've handled him well, and you have the opportunity to take advantage of. So the pitching matchup is firmly in Philadelphia's favor. And because Spencer Strider is still hurt, it gives you the benefit of seeing the guy who's probably their number 4 pitcher against the guy you could argue is your number 1 pitcher. Even though Wheeler's amazing, Nola's also amazing. They're 1A and 1B and can interchange depending on the start. So I'll take 1A or 1B against the number 4 starter at home at Citizens Bank Park, first playoff game in 11 years, any day. It's a great setup. The pitching matchup's firmly in the Phillies' direction. And you know what that means? We got to get on Charlie Morton even more because he knows he doesn't play well here. And he knows he doesn't face this team well. And all that's going to happen if we absolutely rattle him is that's going to be amplified. So as a fan base, we got to get into him and trust that the team's going to take advantage. It's a great spot for the Phillies to be in still. They come back 1-1. They can win 2 games at home and clinch the series. If they win tomorrow, they have 2 games to clinch it. And tomorrow is a great opportunity. Tomorrow is the decisive game in the series that isn't actually the decisive game. So I need you all loud. I need you all popping. I need you drinking. I know how Philadelphia is going to be. I need it to be a raucous environment. And I believe it will be. And it's going to be absolutely awesome. And we'll have thoughts after the game on the next episode of Locked On Phillies. After we get done at the ballpark, I'll record that tomorrow night after all of that. And we'll see how it plays out. I want to thank you one more time for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Now make your next listen Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, Sully, he's awesome. Go ahead and check his workout on Locked On MLB and see him covering the MLB playoffs in total. Okay, that's all my time for today's episode. We'll talk to you hopefully after a Phillies Game 3 win tomorrow night.